call option, we explained put option. We said exercise price should be the price at which an underlying asset will be sold or bought. So we discussed about call option. We said call option is an option to buy. Is an option to buy. It gives the holder the right, but not the obligation to buy an underlying asset at a specified price, and that price is called the exercise price. And we have the put option. So the put option is the option to sell. Option to sell. It gives the holder the right, but not the obligation to sell an underlying asset. So we explain in the morning, at the morning, out of the morning. So in those headings, in the morning, we can either have the call option and put option under in the morning. When we have in the morning, we can say it, we agreed that an asset will be, let's say, we will buy an asset with 45 naira. I'm explaining in the morning under call option now. We said we will buy an asset at 45 naira in this month. When it now gets to December this year, so the price of the asset is now 100 naira. So that asset is what is in the morning. The value of that asset is in the morning because we said we'll buy an asset at 45 naira, and by December that asset have appreciated. That means we are gaining as a buyer because the value of that asset has increased, and we have agreed to buy now at 45 naira because we have discussed that in the agreement date. So that is in the morning. In the morning, under the when it is put option, like that is option to sell. Like this month now, we are agreeing that okay, with this asset, we will sell it 45 naira. So when it now gets to probably December this year, so the value of the asset is now, let's say, 30 naira. So you can see that we want to sell at 45 naira. As a good investor, so, or a rational human being that want to make profits, probably in your business. Let us put it in business circumstances now. Like I want to sell probably my pen 45 naira. I'm agreeing this month. And when it gets to where I've agreed with the person I want to sell it to, and when it gets to December, the value of my pen is now 30 naira. So since we have agreed that I will sell it to you at 45 naira this month, that means I'm making money. I'm still in the money. So that money still belongs to me. I will have a profit. So when we say at the morning, we have scenario of call option and put option there as well. So the scenario of the call option is that the exercise price is equal to the what? The price, the exercise price, which is the price that we will exercise our rights, is equal to what? Is equal to the price of the underlying assets. So the same is the case with the option to sell. The price at which you want to sell an underlying asset is equal to the exercise price. So when we say we are out of the money for call option under out of the money, let us say this month now, I agree to buy an asset. I agree to buy an asset probably in December, and we have agreed the price. Let's still use that 45 naira. I've agreed to buy an asset 45 naira. So when it gets to December, that asset that I want to buy, the value have now fall to 30 naira. And I've agreed to pay 45 naira by December. That means I'm losing money. So that means I'm out of the money. So under the put option, under out of the money, let's say, okay, I want to sell probably my biro 15 naira. And I've agreed with the person I want to sell it to this month. And by December, the value of that biro now probably now increased to 100 naira. That means the biro I'm supposed to sell 100 naira by December, and I've agreed by this month I will sell it at 15 naira. That means I have lost that money. I'm out of the money. So that is that with those terminologies. And I think with this explanation, we should be able to get that. Then we move to intrinsic value. We were given the formula to calculate intrinsic value under the call option and the put option. Under the call option, we say the maximum, that is within 0 or let's say the range of 10, the maximum, but it must not be less than 10 under the call option.
You've tried. You've tried. Thank you so much, Toib. And
All right.
that makes sense, right? And even market woman, right? Market women can actually decode what you just explained now, right? It is what it is, right? And what I will just do, Toib, do you have the material? Do you have material?
No, I have the notes with me, but I will get the material probably when you update it.
Okay. That's fine. That's fine. That makes sense, right? And that shows that you pay attention to details, and it is what it is, right? Makes sense. And let me your data, for this month, right? I'll do that for you. Thank you so much for that summary. And it is what it is. Like I like that analogy, right? Even someone who is not in the class can be able to like, okay, this is in the money, this is out of the money, and this is what is it called? At the money, right? That makes sense. Thank you so much to you. Now, in today's class, let me quickly do a quick recap on something. I'll pick it up from the intrinsic value. Examiner may ask you to calculate the intrinsic value of an option. Intrinsic value of an option is the value of an option at the maturity, right? So at what? At the maturity, right? Under the intrinsic value, there is a call option. Plus, the examiner will say calculate the intrinsic value. And under this intrinsic value, you have a call option and a put option. And what is the call option there? In calculating the intrinsic value under call option, is the maximum of 0, and the difference between the ST minus the exercise price. The difference between the ST and the exercise price. And what is the ST? Whichever is greater. What is the ST? The price of the underlying asset at maturity. And the E is the exercise price, an agreed price. Right. So the maximum of 0 and the difference between the ST and the exercise price, whichever is greater. So that will not give what is it called? Call option, right? Under the intrinsic value. The examiner may ask you to calculate what is the intrinsic value of a call option, and that is the formula. The next one is what will be the intrinsic value of a put option. We should not forget that a call option is an option to buy an underlying as it is not an obligation. You can buy it is not an obligation, but you can buy it, right? In the what? In the option market. We should not equally forget that we have a stock market, we have an option market, we have foreign currency market, right? Now, the call option, I've explained the call. Okay, the put option now is the maximum of 0. The intrinsic value of a put option is the maximum of 0, and the difference between the exercise price and the what? The ST, which is the underlying asset at the what? At the maturity, right? So that will give us the intrinsic value of a what? Of a call option.
The
Thereafter,
put option.
put option, thank you. Put option. Thereafter, we move we move to the time value of money, right? Time value option, time value option, or speculative value. Examiner may ask you to determine the time value of an option. And what is the time value of an option? It is the difference between the option premium and the intrinsic value calculated earlier. So the difference we give what we call the time value. And the question now is, how do we determine the option premium? How to determine the option premium? We take us to the Black-Scholes model. When you want to determine an option premium, whether it is call price or a put price, class, whether you exercise your rights or not in an option market, you have to pay an option premium. You have to, just like in the stock market, when you want to buy shares, you pay a transaction cost. When you want to sell the shares, you pay a transaction cost. In an option market where you hedge against fluctuation of investment risk, you pay what we call that option premium. It is non-refundable. Non-refundable. Now that will take us to the Black-Scholes option pricing mode. How do we determine this option premium? Right, this option premium either at call or at pull. We can use it. We can use the Black-Scholes model to determine the option premium of a call price or a put price, as the case may be, right? And then what does the Black-Scholes model says, right? The Black-Scholes model is used to determine the call price or the call value or put price or the put value of an option, right? Based on 5 input variables. These are variables that affect the Black-Scholes model, right? Which are the risk, which is the standard deviation. The examiner may want to confuse you, maybe standard deviation or volatility or risk, right? Then we have the underlying stock of the price, the time, the exercise price or the strike price, and the risk-free rate. The Black-Scholes model make use of the European style option. And what is European style option? From our terminologies, is that European style option is an option that can only be executed at the date of maturity, at the date of expiration. You cannot execute it during that time of an option, right? Then thereafter, we look at under the Black-Scholes model, the formulas for calculating the call price and the put price. Plus, we should recall that I said that the Black-Scholes model is used to determine the call price or the put price. And this call price is what? And this call price is the option premium of call, plus the put is the what? The option price of a put option, plus. So should in case the option premium is not given to you, you can use the Black-Scholes model to determine the call price, which is the call value of an option premium, or the put price, which is the put value of an option premium. Now, the call price is equals to PA. PA is the what? Is the what is it called? The underlying asset. Then we have the ND1 minus PE. The PE is the exercise price. The ND2, then exponential minus R times T will give us the call price or the value of call option, right? And that value of call option or the call price is the option premium class. Now, the put option or the put price can be calculated. In our previous class, I said, oh, I have to go and check that maybe if we can use the formula for put to call parity to determine the put price of an option, right? The put price of an option or the put value of an option. Now, in some literature, right? In some literature agrees that you can use put to call parity to determine the put price of an option or the put option. In some other literature says that, oh, we can adopt this second formula here. I believe you can all see this formula, right? In the second literature, says that we can adopt the second one, which is PE. PE is the exercise price times the exponential minus RT, R times T, the ND2 minus PA times ND1, right? So what we'll do is that we'll pick this second one, the second literature that says that let's use this second one. Although we can also use put to call parity to actually use it to determine the call price, the put price, or the put value of an what of an option, right? So we'll pick the second one, which is this, right? I think I have to remove the second one. When I want to send the note, I will just remove the first one. Then we'll stick to the second formula. Now, in our previous class as well, we were able to define the terms that the D1, right? The D1 first, right? This is the formula for calculating D1 in PA divided by PE plus R times 0.5 times S raised to power T 2 close bracket T divided by this. Then we have D2, right? Then we're able to define PA, PE, and so on. Now, previous class as well, I've been able to explain that when your D1 is positive, when you calculate P D1, and you see that the D1 is positive now, and the D2 is also positive, you check the normal distribution table, right? Please, if you don't know how to check the normal distribution table, please, before the end of this class, please let me know so that I can just show you how to check the normal distribution table, please. Now, D1, you check the normal distribution table, which is, maybe I give an instance, 0.7. I just say, okay, let's say you check it, you check 0.7, 0.7 under 8. You have this, right? No, now let me quickly use the one we solve for the illustration, right? But when it is negative, you subtract 0.5. When your D1 is negative or your D2 is negative, you subtract 0.5 from the value you get from the normal distribution table, class. From the value you get from the normal distribution table. But when your D1 is positive, you add 0.1 from what you get in your in your normal distribution table. And in our last class as well, we equally look at this question. We solve this question, illustration one, but we could not finish the question because of our time, right? And that is what we did here. When our D1 is positive, we check zero, we approximate it, we say, okay, let's make it two decimal place, 0.8 under 1. You check the normal distribution table, check 0.8 under 1. Then you check 0.7 under what? Under 2. And that is how we're able to arrive at this, our ND1 and ND. But the question says that what should be the price of a European style call option? Meaning that we have to determine the call price or the call value of an option. Now, the call value of an option plus the call value of an option or the call price of an option using the Black-Scholes model is the call option premium. I emphasize on this, is the call option premium. But in case the examiner did not give you the call option premium in the question, you have to go back and use the Black-Scholes model to determine the call option, right? That is the call option what? Premium. Now, this is where we stopped in our what? In our previous class. So, class, this is in, right? So let's do it this way, right? What do we have? What is our R? Class, what is our R here? Our R here is what? 0.7, right? Times T. What is T? 0.5. 0.5, right? So please check from your calculation, from your calculator. Shift press shift and press in. I Hello class, are we still together? Are we still together?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
okay,
sir.
okay. Okay,
Yes,
that's
we
fine.
are.
Okay, thank you. So from your calculator, press shift, then in. You will see letter E. Is that not so? Class. Shift in. I'm coming now. Okay, 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 okay. There will not be shift to okay. I'm coming. Just a minute. Shift in. Okay, yes, yes. Okay, shift in. I'm also with calculator here. So shift in, open brackets, minus 0.07 times 0.5. Close brackets. What do you have? Class, what do you have?
Minus zero point
Zero
zero
point
three.
nine six six.
Ah, someone said minus 0. What do you have?
Zero point
0.965.
nine six six.
Okay, 0.9656. That
Yes.
is
Yes, 0.9656.
okay. Okay. So please, if you do not get it, let me know so that before we move forward, please. Okay. Now, if that is established, C is equals to, please multiply this. When you multiply this, what do you have? If you multiply this, what do you have? If you multiply the first one, what do you have, please?
134
134.47.
point seven.
134.
4.47.
13, okay. 134.47 minus let me do it this way, 165 times 0.7642 times 0.9656. So what is the call price? If you, let's say I'm coming 134.47 minus this. So when you multiply all this, what do you have?
121.7576.
One
21.76.
76. Okay.
121.755.
75576. Okay, that's fine. So what is the call option?
12.71.
12 naira 71 kobo per share. Right. So this is the call price. Right. This is the call price using the European what is it called? Style option, or using the Black-Scholes model, because the Black-Scholes model make use of the European style option, whether it is on put or call. Plus, this is how to determine the what? The call price. And this call price is the call price of an option premium class, or if it is value, if you want to determine the value now, we'll multiply by the numbers of shares, and the numbers of shares was not even stated in this question. If you multiply by the numbers of shares, we give you the call value of an option, and that call value of an option is the call what is it called? Is the call premium, right? Is the what? Is the call premium, and it is not refundable class. So we can also use this, because the question did not say we should calculate our put option. We can also use this. Please, you can use this formula here to determine the what? The put option as well, because we already have the what? We already have the variables class. We already have the what? We already have the variables. But the question did not say we should determine the put option. Please, before we move ahead to data neutral hedging, if you have question, please just 5 minutes or mute your mic. Please, before we move ahead, please, if you have question, quickly unmute your mic. So, are we good?
Sorry, sir. My question is that um, can we see in a case scenario, probably they said we should calculate value of an entity, and we can be required to use probably this call option or put option.
Value of what?
Probably the total value of probably shares of an entity or something like that. In your question.
The shares of an entity. Are you talking about option pricing in valuation of equity or what? Because this one now, we want to determine the value, call value. I will just multiply 12.71 times the numbers of shares. We give me the call value of an option, which is still the same thing as the call premium of an option. Do you understand? Sorry,
All right, sir.
do you get?
Yes, I get that.
Oh, that's fine. Okay,
Okay, sir.
Joshua,
Good evening, sir.
good evening.
Okay, so I got lost in one part. Like you mentioned also like a 5 point that you said something there are 5 points or something. You now mentioned the weeks, the time. I did not get it. Is it the 5 points? You
Were
mentioned
you in
five
class?
points.
Were you in class in our previous class? Were you in class first?
No, no, sir.
So that's why you are not. So that is it. So you have to watch the option pricing part 1, part 2. They are input variables, right? They are input variables of an option. So you have to get yourself familiar with them, which are time, risk-free, volatility, exercise price, and the underlying assets.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. They are input variables. Thank you. So I think we need to move to another part, please. We should not forget all these things. We will use them as we move. They are very what? They are very important. Yes. Should not forget how we determine our D2. Our D2 is calculated using our formula, right? And what is the formula? D1 minus S square root of T. Please. It's very important. You should understand the intrinsic value of an option, which is the payoff. If you understand the time value of an option, is key. You should understand the Black-Scholes model, using the Black-Scholes model to determine the call price or the put price of an option. And the call price or the put price of an option, using the Black-Scholes model, is still the same thing as what the call option premium and the put or what? The put option what? The put option premium. Now, this is your assignment. Please, you can screenshot this, right? This is your assignment. So the next thing we need to look at here is the Greeks. Now, the Greeks under the option theory is the sensitivity of option value with respect to changes in the input variables, right? Are typically refers to as what? Greeks, meaning that if there is a change, the sensitivity of option value with respect to the changes in the input variables. And what are the input variables? The risk, the underlying assets, the volatility, the exercise price, right? What is the last one, sir? The risk, the exercise price, the underlying asset, and the time, right? So if there is an change in an option value, right? For an option to change, it will be as a result of changes in these input variables. Class, we should not equally forget that there is an option market. An option market is real. An option market is real, where you hedge against fluctuation of what? Of the risk investment, right? Now, the input variables will affect the value of your option, and that is the sensitivity analysis, and that is what we call Greeks. Now, refers to sensitivity analysis under NPV, where we have NPV divided by the PV of. So it is also applicable, right? So that is what is called Greeks under the what? Under the option theory. Now, the input variables in Black-Scholes model include, oh, I didn't even mention the Greeks. Okay, that's fine. Now, the Greeks measures how much the option price will change in respect to a change in one of these input at a time. Plus, meaning that if any of these variables, input variables changes, the price of an option will actually change as a result of the changes in these what? Input variables. And these input variables are variables that affect our option. Class. One, delta. The question is, what is delta? Delta measures the relationship between the changes in the option price and the change in the price of an underlying asset. Class, we should not equally forget that an underlying asset could be bond, could be shares, could be commodity, could be foreign currency, right? So any changes that occur between the option price and the underlying asset, right, we resort to as what we call delta. And the formula is the changes in option price divided by the changes in what? Change in what? Underlying assets. Class, the examiner may not ask you or may not tell you to define delta, but we will use delta for something. And what is it? Delta neutral hedging. Data can be used for hedging tools. We'll get there. Now, with Black-Scholes model, data can approximated as follows. Data of call option is equals to ND1. Class, please, I want you to pay attention to this part. The data of call option is ND1. We know how to determine ND1 under the Black-Scholes, right? How to determine our ND1. We need to determine ND1. We determine your ND1, you can now look for ND1 from your what? From the normal distribution table. When your D1 is positive, you add 0.5 to what you have in the what? To what you calculate, to what you have in the what? In the normal what? Distribution. Right. So in this case now, the data of call, if you want to determine the data of call option, is ND1. Class. When you want to determine the data of put option, -1 from it will give you the data of what? Of put option. And what does data measure? The examiner will not tell you that, oh, define delta. No, delta will be used for something in the question. And what is it? It will be used for hedging tools. We'll get there. Now, my message here is that delta measures the relationship between the option price and the changes in underlying what is it called? Asset. Meaning that if there's a change in the underlying asset, it will definitely affect the what? The option price. Right. Now, we now move to data neutral hedging. Before we look at an example on this, maybe the past question or one of these examples I have here. Right. Now, the delta neutral hedging, what does it measure? Delta, we should not forget that delta, we should not forget that okay. Now we should not forget that what takes us to this part is Greeks that measure the sensitivity of an option price, right? And the what? And the changes in the input variables. That is Greeks, right? In this Greeks, the Greeks are the delta, and the delta measures relationship or shows relationship between the changes in the option price and the what? And the underlying assets. Then we now proceed and say, oh, how do we determine the data of call option? Is our ND1. Then the data of put option is what? ND1 minus 1. Thereafter, we can also use delta as an hedging tool. And what is that? And that will take us to what we call delta neutral hedging. And what does it measures? Now, delta is used as an hedging tool. A delta neutral position is one whose value does not change in response to changes in the value of an underlying asset. Meaning that when you want to buy, a shares, right? When you want to buy a shares in the stock market, you can actually use a call option in what is it called, in the option market to hedge, to see if to see if or to see what will happen in the what in the future. Plus, a delta is used as an what as an hedging tool, meaning that a delta neutral position is one whose value does not change in response to changes in the value of an underlying asset. We'll practically illustrate this in the next what illustration. Class. The next Greeks that we have, or should we take example of, we have an illustration under the delta neutral hedging. Okay. Oh, let me continue with this. Then we take, okay, yes, we take illustration on that. Now, what are other Greeks? Don't forget that the examiner will not tell you or will not ask you that what is this, but you should know that, oh, delta, this is what delta measures, right? Then what are other Greeks? We have the gamma, delta, theta, rho, and vega. Now, this is the logic. Gamma measures the amount, the changes in the delta value at to a changes in the underlying assets. Delta value changes in the delta and the changes in what underlying assets. That is gamma. That is the Greeks. We should not forget what is Greeks. Is a sensitivity of an option price to a change in an input variables, right? Meaning that if those input variables, if they change, your option price will also change. There's an inverse relationship between the two, class, because you will see a question where it will be a 6 marks question, right, or 3 marks question that the examiner will now ask you, what are the relationship between this and this? Your understanding of Greeks, right? Your understanding of Greeks, you should be able to like, okay, these are the relationship, and that is why I'm taking my time to explain, and that this is how it was, right? Now, what is theta? Theta is time. T is theta, right? So it's a changes in the price to a changes in what? In the time to maturity. Class. Theta. Gamma measures changes in data to changes in what? Underlying asset. Theta. T time. Time. Changes in what? In the option price. option price. So it changes in what time? Time. Change in what time to maturity? Theta, time. Rho. Rho measures interest. Interest. The sensitivity of the changes in what? In option price to a change in what? In interest. Then what does Vega? Vega is volatility. Volatility, right? The risk, right? The risk. So meaning that if there's an increase in the risk, right, in the standard deviation, it will definitely affect the what? The option price. We should not equally forget an option price may be a call option price, right? Maybe a call price or a put price. So if there is an increase in the volatility, that is the risk, right? It will definitely affect either the call price or the what? Or the put price. So that is the relationship class. Now, having explained this, let's quickly look at an illustration to demonstrate the delta neutral hedging. That is, how do we use a delta neutral hedging to hedge as an hedging tools? Class, we should not forget that the option market is used as an hedging tools to protect your risk, to protect your investment against the fluctuation of what? Investment risk. Class, that is an option market, right? Now, data can be used as an hedging tools. How do we hedge to protect our what? Our investment? Now, in the past questions, examiner will ask you that using the data neutral hedging, right? Neutral hedge, what is the value of call option, or what is the value of put option, right? And you have to apply this principle that we want to do now. So please, I want you all to pay attention to this part of delta neutral hedge. Thereafter, we will look at November 2024, question 5, where we need to determine intrinsic value of an option using the payoff table as well as the time value of an option. Then we look at what is it called, the relationship between the call option and put option as we move on. Right. Class, are we still together, please?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We are together.
Okay. That's fine. It's fine. So please, who will read? Let's take it from this illustration 1. So please, if you check past question under this part, under the delta neutral edge, right, is the question, the examiner will ask you that using the delta neutral edge, calculate the unit of put option class, or calculate the unit of call option, right? In the past question as well, the examiner may ask you that is using the Black-Scholes model, calculate the call price, right? The call price of an option or the put price of what? Of an option. You know, that one is not talking about hedging class. Okay, so let's quickly look at this illustration together so we can move. So who will read?
Okay. Can I proceed, sir?
Please, go ahead. Please.
An investor owns 600,000 shares of Big Bank PLC, currently selling for 40 naira. A call option on Big Bank with a strike price of 40 naira is selling at 5 naira and has a delta of 0.60. A. Determine the number of call options to create a delta neutral hedge.
Okay.
B. Instead of using call options, the investor decides to make use of put option. How many options will be needed?
Thank you. You can see that this question is talking about read one. You're supposed to read the requirement first, but that's fine. Right. And that is our
Okay,
principle,
sir.
yeah. You know, the understanding of the requirements, when you understand the requirement, shows that you've solved 60% of the question. Right. Thank you. Now, determine the numbers of call option, number, right, necessary to create what? Neutral hedging. Meaning that how many units are you going to have of call option in order for you to hedge? That is number. You need to determine the unit. Why the next one is, if instead of using call option, the investor decide to make use of put option, how many option will be needed? They are still talking about numbers of option that will be needed to hedge, right? Using the word the delta neutral hedge. Class, we should not forget that under the delta of call option is MD1, meaning that we cannot calculate the delta of puts without the delta of call option. Is that not so? Because the delta of call option will give you the delta of put option, meaning that your MD1 minus 1 plus, meaning that your delta of call. And that is the reason why the question says you should start from the what? The call what? The call option. And going by this question, let's analyze this question again. An investor owns 600 shares of Big Bank PLC, right? He owns this in Big Bank PLC, and the stock is currently selling, right? Is currently selling. This is the current market price of that particular stock, and a call option on Big Bank with a strike price of 40. Of course, if in the NGS today, if UBA Bank shares is trading as 50 naira or 200 naira or 100 naira for instance, it will still be the same thing. When you go to the option market, you still find it, you still see the same 100 naira there. And that is it. And that 100 naira under the option price, under the option market is called what? The exercise price. Now, a call option on Big Bank with the strike price of 40 naira is selling at 5 naira, right? And as a delta of 0.60, class, they've given us a delta of 0.6. Is that not so? But the requirement says that determine the numbers of call option. Is that not so? Meaning that, don't forget, the delta of call option is equals to MV1. The delta of put option equals to MV1 minus what? ND1 minus 1. Now, you should not forget that when this MD1, the data of call option is not given to you. Sometimes examiner may not give you the data of call option, which is this MD1. You have to use the Black-Scholes model to determine your MD1 class. You have to use what? The Black-Scholes model to determine your what? Your MD1 if it is not given to you in the what? In the question. Now, meaning that they have to provide you all the input variables that you will use, because when you want to determine your D1, you need your in PA divided by PE minus, you have a plus, what is it called, 0 point arg plus 0.5 x raised to power 2 times, you need that D1, right? You need the what? The D1. Now, in this question now, the MV, the delta of call option is given to be 0.60. Class, can you see the delta of call option is given to be what? 0.6. Why? It wasn't stated, but guess what? You cannot use this as a data of put option, because for you to determine your data of put option, you will need the data of call option. So definitely this data of 0.60 is what? The delta for what? For call what? For call option. So the data of call option is given to us to be 0. What? 0.6. But now we want to determine the numbers of call option in order for them to hedge, to create a what? The data neutral hedge class. So suggested solution, they have the investor have this 600 shares. So I can say security. So that's a solution to A. Can use this as security, or you create a portfolio. Then you have the quantity, because the question says the number of call option. The quantity, right? Then the delta, which is ND1. The delta given to us is the delta of call. And the question says determine the numbers of call options, right? Determine the numbers of what? Call option. So we can have here total class. The investor has what? 600 shares. So shares 600 plus. So we assume that the shares is actually at 1. That is the assumption class. We assume that under the delta of call option, right, the what is it called? The amount stated here, or the number stated here, will be what? Will be 1, right? So we should not forget that this is shares, right? So when you multiply this, you have what? 600 shares. Is that so? But the question says determine the numbers of call option. We've created the investor as this, which is shares. We've created it, right? Now the next one is to create for the call option, which is the what? The option market class. The first one we created was on shares class, which is on the stock market. Then the second one is to be on call option, which is on what? On option in what? In option market. Now, which quantity? Determine the numbers of call option necessary to create the quantity is not given, which we need to determine the what? The quantity that we move. The delta ND1 for call option is given to us to be 0.60. Recall, if it is not given to us, we have to use the Black-Scholes model to determine the delta of ND1 class. So this will have what? 0.60 class. We have what? 0.60 class. We should not forget that this was created in the stock market to have these shares. Is that not so? Now, what call option is the investor we have in the what? In the what is it called? To create a neutral what? Data neutral hedging in the what? In the option market. And you should not forget that the option market is used for an hedging tools, right? Where you can hedge, where you can protect your investment against what? The fluctuation of what? Of an investment, what is it called? A fluctuation of the investment, right? Now, if you multiply this, we have 0.6 x, right? 0.6 x. So here we can have the 600, right, plus 0.6x plus 600 plus 0.6x equals to 0. You can equate this to 0 because we want to determine the quantity of a call option class. You can equate this to 0 because you want to determine the quantity of call option that will make you to create a delta neutral edge. And what is this delta neutral edge? just for you to protect your investment against the fluctuation, right? Or against the risk in the what? In the market. So we can equate this to zero. So we can say 600 units plus 0.6x equals to 0. So 600 minus 0 equals to minus 0.6x plus what is the quantity for the call option? When you divide this, okay, let's say 600 equals to minus 0.6x plus what is the quantity for the call option? What is the quantity? Are we
That's
there?
1 million. 1 million, right?
Negative.
$1 million.
1
Yeah,
million negative.
yeah.
All right. No. 1 million x equals to minus 1 million. Right? Now, what will you advise the investor? Class, this person has 600 shares in a big bank, right? And currently selling at what? 14 naira. Then a call option on big bank. So you now create what is it called? Another in option market, right? A call option on big bank with a strike part of 40 naira and as a delta of this. Now the question is, will you advise your investors to buy more of this call option or to sell the call option? Will be your advice? Because the call option quantity is negative. Class, what will be your advice as an investor that you want to edge? When you want to edge that, okay, the call option is an option to buy. Is that not so? Then, when you decide to edge, you now have a negative of 1 million call option. Class, if assuming you are an investor or a rational investor, will you buy more of call option or you sell the call option? Class, will you buy more?
Um, no, I won't buy more. Even sorry to say this, but I think SFM we need to think strategically at times. Even when we go back from the angle of the intrinsic value for call option, where we say maximum of 0 and ST minus E. I think with that save, I can't buy more with this negative because
Okay,
it's lower to
okay,
0.
okay, okay. Okay. That's fine. That, but you can't actually use that concept because you will not you can't use that concept because like the formula. I'm not saying you can't use the analogy, right? I'm talking about the formula because that formula is used for the value, not the units. Do you get? Not the unit. Imagine you have 600 in a bank, right? In a 600 in a bank, and you're looking at it to buy more of this call in the what? In the option market with big bank, right? Then you decide that, okay, what will be my call option in case I want to edge? I want to protect this my investment. And when you hedge, you have a negative of 1 million call option. A negative of 1 million call option indicates that the investor should sell his call option. You can't even buy because call option is an option to buy. But you have a negative, meaning that the investor may end up running at loss at the end of the period. Class, am I communicating, please? Class, are we still together?
So come again with that. decision.
Yes, sir.
Come. Okay. Now you have you have 600 shares in Big Bank and in shares in Big Bank, right? And you are not considering that you want to buy more of these shares in 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 the option market. Then you're not looking at it that before you buy more of this, okay, you have to do what? You have to hedge. You have to hedge to protect your investment. Class. Now let's quickly go back to the definition of data neutral. Right. And what is the objective? Let me pick it from here. What is the objective? The objective of data neutral portfolio is to combine a position in an asset with, with an option so that the value of the portfolio does not changes in the value of the asset, meaning that you want to protect your investment, meaning that you don't want to look, you don't want your investment to reduce. You have to protect it. You have to protect your portfolio. In that security, you can put a portfolio, right? Then, when you calculate the call option, you want to know the numbers of call option necessary for you to create a data neutral edge. Then, when you calculate the call option gives you a negative, not a positive, meaning that that option, that shares did not worth keeping it. You don't have to keep it. If you keep it, you will make a lot of loss. You make a loss in that particular option. Then, what will be your advice for the investor? Is for the investor to sell, should sell the call option. Right? You have to sell it because you don't have to keep it. If not, class, you don't have to keep it. You just have to sell it, and that is a decision. Class, are we still together?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, we now move to this. Assuming this is positive, assuming this is positive, you can advise that they should buy more of call option. Assuming it is positive, because call option is an option to buy. If it is positive, you can advise more to do what? To buy. So, B, if instead of using call options, the investor decide to make use of put options, how many options will be needed? Plus, instead of, we are still talking about numbers here. If instead of using call option, the investors decide that, okay, let me use put option to hedge. I have this already. What if I want to sell? How many options will it be needed for the hedging? Right? How many options will it be needed for the hedging? So, and this is puts. We should not forget this ND1 of 0.6 is the delta of call option. Plus, is the delta of what? Is the delta of call option. So I can copy this. right? Delta 2. So you can have put option plus. So this will change. How do we calculate recall? Delta of call option equals to ND1 delta of puts option equals to ND1 minus 1 plus. And in the question, the ND1 is given to be 0.6, which is the delta of call option 0.6. So class, in order for you to determine the delta for put option, it will be 0.60 minus 1. Class, what do you have?
Minus 0.4.
Minus 0.4. Right? Minus what? Minus 0.4. So we can put here to be minus 0.4 x. So if you have minus 0.4 x, when you multiply this, we have minus 0.4, right? So minutes coming. So class 600, right? Minus 0.4x equals to 0 plus. So we can have 600 minus 0.4x equals to 0. So 600, right, minus 0 equals to 0.4x. 600 equals to 0.4x plus.
1.5.
What's it?
1.5.
1.5.
1.5.
1.5. 1.5. Now, what will be now be your advice? What will now be your advice? Where you have 600, where you have 600 shares, class, where you have 600 shares, and what is put option? A put option is an option to sell. You have 600. Then when you want to hedge, you have 1.5. Now, what will now be your advice? Just like what Toyib mentioned the other time, right? So, what will now be your advice? Right? What will now be your advice? Will you decide to sell this option, class? Will you decide to sell? If you want to
Yes,
advise
sir.
the
It is
investor,
well.
eh, mm, next, will you decide to sell? Am I the only one in this class?
No, we are with you, sir.
So will you you have 600 shares, right? Then
I will
put
break this
option.
one.
I will sell more of my shares. I can never do that too.
Yeah.
Will you sell?
I will not sell. Oh.
You hold it.
Right? Um okay, I'm coming. Fatai. Fatai, are you there? Fatai, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. Now you have 600, right? And you need to edge for put option. And a put option is an option, to sell. So when you now hedge, you have 600. Then when you now hedge, you end up, don't forget that you want to sell. You end up having what? 1.5 of a put option, right? What will you do? You tell them, you advise the investor to buy more of it. Because if you say you want to sell, when you have 600 plus, you've already said you have a 600 of shares. Just like when you exercise your right, you have 600. And when you now edge, you have 1.5. Will you decide to sell? No, you will not want to sell. You have to do what? You have to buy more. You have to do what? You have to buy more of what? Of put option. So therefore, the investors should buy more of put options. Class, are we still together?
Yes, sir, we are together.
I think this class is
Yes,
too
sir.
dull.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Uh, we need energy drink. 34. 34 participants. Let's say Toib, host us now. Excuse me. Need energy drink. one each. That is 34K, right? At least. Gabriel.
That was a mistake, sir. That was a mistake.
Okay. That's fine. Okay. Please, if you did not understand, let me know, please. Because the class is too dull. I don't know. Just too dull. But that's fine, sure. We can move on. So, investors should buy more of put option because you already have 600 plus. You already say, oh, you will sell it, you will sell this. You already have 600. Then when you decide to hedge, right, you have 1.5, right, which is actually what? Higher than 600. So therefore, right, you have to do what? Buy more of what? Put option, right? Now, in another case scenario, um, Okay. Illustration 2. Illustration 2. You have sold required how many call option will be needed for delta neutral hedging? How many call option will be needed for delta neutral hedging? And this is what the examiner will ask you, that how many call option will be needed, how many put option will be needed. Class, how many call option will be needed, how many put option will be needed. Then, if put option are used, how many put options will be needed? Meaning that you have to determine the quantity. Class, you need to determine the quantity. You have sold shorts. You have sold shorts, 110 units, right? That is the language in the option market. Short, sell, long, buy of Alagoye PLC shares. Then call and put option exist in the company shares, meaning that in that shares, call and put option exists on the company shares. You are aware that the position can be what? Can be hedged. You are aware that you can also hedge these shares, right? You are aware that the position can be hedged using either call options or the what? Or the put options. Because you can protect this your investment using the call option or the put option. Now the question is, how will you protect it? Is by using data neutral hedging, right? The data of put option, the data of call option is ND1, right? The data of put option is what? Is ND1 minus what? Minus 1. So, class, for the relevant, come to okay. So, for the relevant options, you know that ND1 class, when you're given ND1 in the question, that ND1 is the ND1 for the what? For the call option. Because you can't determine the ND1 for, you can't determine the delta of put option without the delta of a call option. So the ND1 given to you in the question is what? Is the delta of a what? Of a call option. So we can create a portfolio with this. The first one is, how many call option will be needed for the what? For the delta neutral hedging. How many? That is, what is the numbers of call option that will be what? That will be needed. Now, you can start this suggested solution. In some literature, you have here to be portfolio. Of course, when you have shares, you have call option, you have shares, you have call option. Of course, it's a portfolio. We should not forget that in a portfolio is the combination of different investments. The different investment could be shares, could be bond, could be commodities, right? Under the portfolio. If they say you have a portfolio When you buy Jitco Bank shares, you don't want to buy Fidelity shares. You want to reduce your risk. You could buy First Bank shares. Then you move to the oil sector, probably Ohando. From Ohando, you can move to insurance. By that, you are creating a port, you are creating a portfolio. What do you want to achieve? You want to reduce investment what? Investment risk. Please kindly go back, kindly check or download the portfolio theory, right? It's in the playlist. Please. Portfolio theory and a capital asset pricing model. Now we have the shares to be. What is the shares? The shares is what? The unit is 110. And don't forget that the shares you have sold short. You have sold. Sold means it's going out, right? So you have to put negative sign. And that is what examiner may ask you to do, right? Miss, if examiner want to make it more complex, they will put short. Short means you want to sell. You have to put minus sign, right? Because you want to sell it. So the delta will be 1. So here we can have here minus 110 plus. So, and the first one is call option is X, the quantity, the numbers. How many call option? That is the number. Then the data of ND1 is given to be what? 0.45 plus. So we can have here to be 45 right? Minus this plus 0.45 x equals to 0 minus 00 plus 0.45 minus 110, right? Equals to minus 0.45x minus 110, right? Equals to minus 0.45x plus. What is the call option?
244,444.
444.
Okay.
200
Call
and
option. Call option unit is what?
244,444.
444 units. Right? 200 and what? 244.
4,000.
Is it correct? Is this correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So how many numbers of call option? Seton are they right?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Okay, please, sorry, I just wanted to ask that why did we use the plus at this total side? I know that the previous one we used minus there.
It's because there is minus there. Check
Okay.
it. You can see it. There is minus there, right? The
Okay. Okay.
the first one, can you see it?
Okay.
So read one. Read one. Are you still there?
I'm there with you, sir.
So what would be your advice? Let's sell.
Sir, please To an investor, I will advise an investor to sell the options.
Why?
Um, because it yield a positive result.
Is it because it is
So
positive?
no, that's number one, and also
But okay,
the unit,
okay,
the number of
the call
units.
option.
Yes, sir.
It is an option to buy. Okay. Okay, I'm with you.
I said the units it actually increase, so which I will advise an investor to sell based on my own opinion.
No, we are in call option. The units.
Okay, sir, to buy. Sorry, rather.
Okay, to buy.
So I will advise an investor to buy more.
Okay. Which other? I'm coming. Um, um, a minute, please. Let's test run something here. Okay. Okay. So to buy more, please, can you mute your mic? Okay, let's quickly move on to the next one, which is the B part of the question. B. So if a put option are used, how many put option will it be needed? Right? So the same thing. So this will be on put option. To be on put option. Put option. We should not forget what is our ND. Right? So this will change. So delta of core is equals to 0.45, which is ND1 delta of puts equals to ND1 minus 1. Please, class, don't forget that when your ND1 is not given to you, you have to use the Black-Scholes model to determine the ND1, the D1 first. After the D1, you determine the ND1. Please take notes. So therefore, 0.45 minus 1. What do we have here?
0.55.
0.55.
0.55. Right? 0.55. So the puts delta is 0.55. Right. So this is what? 55.
It's minus 0.55.
Okay, minus 0.55. Right. So you can see that minus 110 minus, you have a minus here, right? 0.5. So we can equate this to 0. So 1110 minus 0 equals to 0.55x. So what do we have? 110?
200,000 units.
Sorry, minus 110.
Oh,
Does that really work? Minus will cancel minus already.
right. So we can have minus 110. Is that not so? This will have 0.55x. So put option. The numbers of put option. What is the numbers of put option?
200,000.
Minus
200,000
200,000
units.
units.
Minus 200
200,000 units.
is minus. So
But sorry,
uh, this is minus now. Away. Is that not so? This is minus now. Is that not so?
sir, I think we have data of put option is ND1 minus 1. And whereas ND1 minus 1 is 0.5 minus
Is it
1, which we have minus 0.55. And the put option and the shares given to us, sorry, the option given to us is minus before. So this minus supposed to contradict the minus. Why would you
no,
have minus at the end of the option?
no, no, no. You have minus here, and this gives you minus. Is that not so? Minus 0.55x. Is that not so?
Yes.
Then minus, this is minus now, and this is minus 0.55x equals to 0. Oh, you want us to do mathematics here? Minus this will be equals to 0. Okay. Oh. Then this is
sorry. Maybe I'm stupid. Like if I press minus 110 divided by
read one.
minus 0.05,
Read
and
one.
it's given
Leave that your
that
calculator. Let's use logic reasoning here, right? This is minus 10, right? This is the equation. Is that not so? This is the equation. This is minus 10. Minus 110 minus this equals to this, right? This is minus. This will give us minus now. This is 0. And this, when you take this to this part, will give you positive. Then when you divide by this, you have negative, right? So let's follow the rule. This is 1 minus 10 minus 0.55x. Right?
Yes.
So, okay, thank you. So you can say that it is negative, right? And you know, because it is what? It is negative. So what will you advise? What will you advise? What will be your advice? Class. The question did not say we should advise you. I'm just like, I want to test you, maybe you really understand what we are doing first. So we need to discuss it. Yeah. So what will be your advice? Should they sell the put option?
They should buy.
Why did you say they should buy more of put option? Why? Why? Okay. Someone said sell because it is negative. Just like the way we did the first one. Right. You don't have to keep it. When your put option is negative, when your put option is negative, put option is an option to sell. Put option is an option To sell, you have to sell it. When your call option, right, is negative, right? Instead of you to buy, instead of you to, when your call option is actually what is actually negative, what will happen to it? Right? You don't have to keep it. You don't have to keep it. You have to sell it out. When your put option is negative, you have to sell it out. Class.
So the same decision rules applies to both put option and call option.
Call option. Right. Don't worry, you
So for
understand it in our
multiple
next class
members,
again.
we have
So
put
what I will
option.
do, what I will do in our next class again, I'll come back to the data neutral hedging. It's not the part of the calculation, it's just the part of the decision, because I know that is the only place that you guys have it. But I'll come back to it now and we'll still explain, then we'll now move further. But I know you understand the, what is it called? Calculation on how we arrive at all this, the listening, the unit, right? So class, are we still together? Are we still together?
Yes, sir.
Please, you can please
Yes,
screenshot
sir.
Yes, sir.
this assignment. Screenshot this one. Okay. And that first one, right? Then check. I think check May 2016. I think check May 2016. You see option pricing. That's the question we say, oh, use the data neutral edge. Calculate the numbers of call option or the put option. Please. All those things are just 2 marks. I think 6 marks, 7 marks question. Under the data neutral edge. Toib, where the energy drink now, okay? Toib.
Toib has not slept at all.
Okay. That's fine. So I have a question here. Under intrinsic value / payoff. This question was tested November 2024, question 5. And the performance was very low based on examiner comment. And it is actually very simple because we already have the rule of the principle. We already have the principle. Right. So should we continue or we'll continue from here on Saturday?
No, let's continue this one. Thank you. I said it too. I want to learn it.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. Honestly, we're not supposed to like have this class today, like, and I just have to, because it's just the season. Most of the tutors now are not feeling too well, right? Everybody will just alpha now. Good. Today, and I never like, I don't even know that I can even take this class today. I just told Christy, just put it there. Let's see how it goes, right? And it is part of the effort, you know. It is part of the effort. And guess what? There's always a reward. There's always a reward, right? for someone to be putting effort to something like this, and you also, most of you're supposed to be doing something else, and you're here in the class, right? So there's always a positive result. There's always a positive result. So please go back to what we've done so far under the option, not only under the option and some other. Go back to it, check it again, check, check, and check. Right. So anyway, you don't understand, you don't need to send me DM. Just send it to the general group, right? I will see it. So we're in this class 11, right? So let's quickly continue with our lecture on. So far we've looked at an illustration under the Black-Scholes model, right? Thereafter, we proceed to the delta degrees, where we have the delta neutral hedging as an hedging tool, right? Now, we also need to look at the intrinsic value of an option. What is intrinsic value of an option? Is the value of an option at the date of maturity. Now, illustration on intrinsic value of an option. Now let's check. What is the required? Please, who will read the required?
I can read it. Hello?
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
can read it.
Okay, go ahead.
Prepare the
Prepared.
briefing notes for the presentation that include a calculation of the intrinsic value and the time value of each of the options on TP's share at 31st December 2024. B. A brief explanation of the three factors
Okay,
that.
now, okay,
Okay.
okay. Thank you. Now, the first required, right? What is the first required? A calculation of intrinsic value and the time value of each of the option on TP shares, 31st December 2024. So, how do we determine intrinsic value? The call option and the put option. Do not forget, the intrinsic value of a put option is the maximum of 0 and the difference between the ST and the exercise price. And the exercise price, we give the intrinsic value of a call option, the intrinsic value of a put option, which is the payoff table, is the difference, is the maximum of 0 and the difference between the exercise price and the words and the underlying assets. So we have to compare it, right? We have to compare it. So we have this, and okay, what do we have left under option pricing? We have these parts, and we have the application of option theory to investment appraisal. I think that is just the two that remain, 1 and 2. Okay. Okay. So I think, okay, let's just continue on Saturday, right? Or should we continue?
Okay, sir, Saturday.
Please, let's continue on Saturday
Let's continue on Saturday.
Okay.
because we can't finish this question if we start now.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. So this question is adopted from ICAM Card Finder and made November 2024, which is option. If you check examiner comment I think we check examiner comment May 2025 under the option. November 2024 is not that it's not that good like that, right? So option pricing is very important, right? Very important. So we just have two parts to two subtopic under option pricing: the intrinsic value and the application of option pricing investment appraiser, the option to abandon, option to delay. Right. So we'll look at that in our next class. So please, it's on YouTube already, so you can go and watch it. Right. So and the material is not available, but hopefully before the next class, please, I'll update the drive. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining.
Please be strong, oh.
Thank you, sir.
No
Thank
false
you.
sleep.
Good night, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining and
Good night,
enjoy the
too.
rest.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful rest.
Go and buy your energy drink.